The stories that you're going to hear in this video are true and may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome back to the Lucky Boys. Today we're going to be talking about how to set up a beginner IFAK and my personal experience with medical emergencies. Let's get into it. I'm going to start off with a little story time. In 2022, I witnessed one of the worst car accidents I have ever seen in my entire life. It was on a road in a small town, and I had witnessed a vehicle that was turning left to go into a parking lot get hit by another vehicle going about 65 miles an hour. Truck number 1 had completely buckled under the impact of truck number 2. I happened to be with a few of the other Lucky Boys. We run back to our vehicle and I grab my IFAK. This exact IFAK. So we run back over to this truck. There is gasoline gushing out of the fuel tank all over the ground. Can't open the door, but there's glass that's broken. One of us climbs in and bashes the door out from the inside. Carefully, we remove the driver. The first thing that was noticeable immediately was he had a major gash right here on his forehead that had peeled the skin off of his skull. The piece of his scalp and the hair that was on it was still attached to the steering wheel. And that was from when he had smacked the steering wheel because it was an older truck that did not have a working airbag. Head wounds bleed a lot. We could see very clearly he had a concussion. One of his pupils was very big, the other pupil was very small. We applied a small amount of stop the bleed. We applied a bandage to his head, and we kept him in the recovery position for a head wound. While emergency services was on their way, we were able to stabilize this gentleman before they got there. That situation would have been so much worse if anyone did not have one of these, and you'd be surprised. Nobody had one. The truth about medical is this: you are more likely to use your IFAK 99.999% of the time in your life than your gun. Train medical. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get into the basics of building out your IFAK and what I had in my IFAK at the time. I'll give you a quick tip. Throw a rubber band around some of your loose stuff. That way it's not flying out and you're not looking for it. I know a few guys that have a system where they color code their rubber bands, so like burns, stings, that type of stuff. That's all in a red rubber band. Green stuff is for allergies, so on and so forth. It's all kind of dependent, but just follow some type of order because seconds save lives. The first thing that I highly recommend getting is gauze. The truth about gauze is you can never have enough gauze. Get extra gauze. If you think you have enough, you do not. I personally either have a roll of conforming gauze or I have these, the gauze sponges. These are great. Sterile gauze pads are going to run out quickly, whether you believe it or not. Bring like a minimum of 10 of these squares with you and a couple of these guys, okay? Again, rubber band, got one, rip and done. Next, we have Band-Aids. Duh. Have different types of Band-Aids. Have different sizes of Band-Aids. Have knuckle bandages, that type of stuff. Bring extras. Next, of course, is Ace bandage. These you can get really, really cheap. Buy them on Amazon, whatever. Learn how to put one on. Always wrap towards the heart. Israeli bandage. Bring a couple of these. You never know when you're going to use one. It is on you to properly learn how to apply all of the items that you have in your IFAK. I am not going to teach that to you. Medical tape, very important. That's just to kind of assist in holding things on. Alcohol prep pads. Let's be honest, the world is a dirty place. Your hands are a dirty place. Everything is dirty. Bring some alcohol prep pads. Also in the same bundle, the way that I had these, I have it different now in my new IFAK. I've got kind of just my whole rigmarole of Ipran, Difan, sting relief, burn gel, that type of stuff. And this rubber band just keeps it organized so that it's not falling out all over the place. And I know that all of the things that I'm going to need for general purpose are all in one place. Next, this is extremely important. Gloves. Get the blue gloves. Blue is for blood. Okay, so when you're checking somebody, when you throw those gloves on, because let's be honest, blood is a gross biohazard. In the case of the man with the truck, yes, I see an injury on this person's head, but for all I know, he's bleeding out of his side too. When I'm doing my assessment and I'm patting him down and I'm seeing kind of what's going on, if there's anything that gets on these gloves that I notice, the blood will show up very, very bright. Blue gloves are the way. Trauma shears. Get yourself a good pair of trauma shears. Faro Concepts has a very good trauma shear. RHINO Rescue has a very good trauma shear. My Medic is a good brand. I highly recommend them. Check them out. This is for taking off clothing, is not for arts and crafts. Emergency blanket. When people go into shock in major injuries, they get cold. Their body starts to freeze. The emergency blanket is a must-have. A few years ago, I was doing a 20-mile ruck, and it was in the wintertime. We had an individual go out with us that was wearing cotton. We started for a good maybe 6.5 miles, and what happens when you don't layer properly? You work up a good sweat. Well, when you're wearing cotton, that cotton is not moisture wicking. That cotton is going to absorb all that moisture, and you're gonna get super wet and sweaty. When you stop, what happens is you start to freeze. This gentleman did not work on his cardio very well. He was not very well prepared. He was an absolute noob, and his clothes were freezing on his body. You could feel how rigid his clothes were. You could touch it and they would crust and crinkle. That's how fast they were getting cold. It's science. When you want to make ice fast, you throw hot water inside of an ice tray and you throw it in the freezer. This is basic science. So anyways, we had to take this gentleman's pants off with some trauma shears, and he was shivering. He was going hypothermic. Throw one of these guys on him, get some dry clothes on him. This is a real life and death situation for this guy because we don't have quick access to a vehicle to take us back. What's he gonna do, walk? Luckily, he was able to recover, but again, it's just you have to be prepared for that scenario. Next is tourniquets. TQs, I have two opinions on that come from real life experience. The cat tourniquets, those are always good. It's better to have some than none. But the cat tourniquets that are the plastic bar instead of a metal bar sometimes snap. Go figure. I highly recommend RHINO Rescue. This is metal. It'll never break. We'll do a video on how to apply these as well in the coming weeks. Stop the bleed. This is what we use. You can see that it's actually still kind of open. I don't know if this stuff goes bad or not. This is actually the exact brand that we used when we helped that gentleman out. Stop the bleed is a powder. You pour a little bit on there and wow, it magically stops the bleed. Get some in your IFAK. EpiPen. People are allergic to things. Go figure. Figure out what you need to do to get an EpiPen. Become allergic to something. I don't know. Get an EpiPen. A story that's a little close to home for me is I was at a wedding when I was younger, and a little girl, about 12, 13 years old, was eating some of the desserts that were on the table. Now, the desserts were not labeled, and this little girl was allergic to peanut butter. So she thought that she was just eating a piece of chocolate, and it was filled with peanut butter. Nobody had an EpiPen. She had left it at home, and she passed away. Bring an EpiPen everywhere you go. The only other thing that I would throw in there that I have in my new IFAK that I didn't have in here is a hyphen chest seal or some type of chest seal. And one of these for my airway. Lay them on their side, put it in, twist, boom, they can breathe. I recommend two things when it comes to medical. One, do some fucking research. It is good, solid knowledge that you can use anywhere. Your gun, not so much, bud. Number two, know when to get the fuck out of the way. You do not want to play with somebody's life by arguing with somebody who has more experience. If you don't know what you're doing, shut the fuck up and ask how you can help. If that means that somebody has to make you look bad in front of other people and tell you to get the fuck out of there, do it. I understand that this episode was a little bit more sad, but to be honest with you guys, this is not something you want to play around with. There are small cuts and bruises, yes, but every once in a while, and you never know when it's going to happen, there is some serious catastrophic injuries that need to be assessed, taken care of, and the proper emergency staff needs to come in and take care of that life. Another important piece of information is the do's and don'ts of medkits. Amazon will try to sell you these like 200-piece kits, emergency kits. I have one right here just to try it out. This thing sucked. Piece of garbage. Don't get it. I would not skimp out on medical supplies. It can get somewhat expensive, but that expense when going for quality is going to make a difference. I guarantee it. Sources for good medical supplies. I would look at MyMedic. MyMedic has everything that you could possibly need to look through for building out your own emergency kit. They have pre-made emergency kits from small sizes to large sizes, and they are affordable. Check them out. Another place that I like is RHINO Rescue. RHINO Rescue is a tried and true brand, high quality gear there. That's where I go for tourniquets, trauma shears, that type of stuff. You're looking for quality and quantity on disposable items. Don't skimp out. You want to put an IFAK on your belt setup? That's totally fine too. This one, to be honest, is a little big for the belt setup. that's usually on a portion of my bag or in the bag, backpack, rucksack, whatever, or it's going to be attached to the MOLLE panels in the front or top of that bag. I do have kind of a smaller boo-boo kit that I put on my gun belt, and I usually carry another TQ on my gun belt as well. That does not count towards your IFAK. And on that note, thank you so much for tuning into this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Helps the channel. Check us out, luckyboysyrup.com. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will be seeing you again very, very soon. Namaste.